Doctors of Reddit. If free healthcare for all happened tomorrow in the US, what pros and cons would you see in your profession from day to day? You forgot the serious tag, so this thread will be useless. Not a doctor and don't live in the US, but here's my detailed analysis. I honestly feel for you guys that don't have free health insurance. In a first world country, you'd think it would be a given. And as ignorant as this sounds, why isn't it? It's not something I've looked into. I am fortunate to have free healthcare here in Aus. I'd be up shit creek if it wasn't available. 1 million people in the insurance industry would go unemployed. Gee. Wonder why it hasn't happened yet. What does free healthcare even mean? Anything involving a doctor is free? Are prescriptions free? Is all medical equipment free? If any of those things are what you are talking about. Unless the government comes up with trillions of dollars to pay for it, a bunch of industry will collapse around the healthcare sector. Docs are already overwhelmed with work, so they can take only so many patients at once, so in the end, if now to wait to see a doc out of schedule take a month or two, then it'll take half year or so. Money-wise, if government continue to support their salary, then it should be okay. Doctor here, I would lose my job instantly. Free healthcare is not sustainable in the USA. Development of healthcare technology would presumably be at the whim of the government rather than by private for-profit companies. It's good when our tech development is incentivized by money rather than welfare. Also not a doctor, but here's my personal anecdote that agrees with your analysis. Because there's a lot of people that think free healthcare would be socialist, and that would be exactly the opposite of what many Americans want America to be. Not that healthcare is socialist. I don't know where that comes from, but it's what I've heard. Because a large portion of the country believes that quality would go down, and the government would control what doctor you can see and when, etc. Basically, the insurance and private healthcare industry fight it by making it look evil. Lol. Like most things in US, it's about race. Racist white people. There are a lot of them. About 40%. Won't share a level playing field with black people. Everything starts and ends right here. Because we are capitalist. And what do capitalists normally do? Well, capitalize off of everything, of course. If we can turn a profit, we will. I like paying for my healthcare. I don't want generic government-run healthcare. Governments can't run anything in the US. But then a lot of time and money goes to insurance companies. Right? So those costs wouldn't be there. I'm a bit ignorant on the topic. So if anyone can tell me more, please do. I think you are sadly mistaken. The government wouldn't give a shit that Tylenol costs $15. The government would be paying for healthcare with your money. The taxpayers. Cost and quality don't matter near as much when the expenses are coming from other people's money. I just fractured my foot a few months ago. I paid extra for a new top-of-the-line splint rather than the free massive moon boot. I paid extra for a specialist to look at it for me. My bill was $201 cause I wanted the extra stuff. If I wanted the standard care, it would be free. That's what it means. Currently, the average yearly cost of healthcare in the developed world is $4,000 per citizen. The really generous, expansive UHC systems mostly in Western Europe cost $5,000–6,000 per citizen. Currently, the U.S. government tax-funded healthcare spending is $7,000 per citizen. And then there is private insurance and out-of-pocket for an additional $4,000. The U.S. healthcare setup is such an abnormal outlier. Costs have spun out of control for so long that at this point they are vastly beyond UHC costs. It's free at the point of use for the individual. It isn't free. It's taxes being used to pay for the healthcare industry instead of insurance direct payments by individuals. Dude, no one likes a smartass. You know exactly what op means. And if you respond with, no I don't know what op means, then you can walk your happy ass outta here. I find that statement incredible. What's your specialty? Can you please explain how government coordination and accountability to provide everyone health services, like i.e. prenatal screening for everyone pregnant, is going to tank your healthcare? Your maternal mortality is insanely high in certain states. Just shockingly poor. By this logic, the only reason the current system works is because many sick people never get to see a doctor. How does more salary support equals less overwhelming or increased capacity? I cannot see claims jumping up because of healthcare. Why? Take this from someone with $8.5 million in hospital bills from an auto accident. Maybe per patient. But I suspect more people would seek treatment for ailments. So the quantity of visits would go up. $12,000 for a couple hours work. With millions of dollars of hardware that the doctor uses. But doesn't own. Clearly not a doctor. And here's my personal belief that disagrees with the analysis and discounts your experience. But wouldn't just a quick look onto basically any first world country with free healthcare prove all this point's wrong? You think there's 1 million admin jobs needing filled? We've been having this discussion in the UK. More about nurses than doctors, but still. The government is on a mission to see just how much they can get away with insulting NHS staff before they all throw their arms up and leave. This culminated in the recent budget at the end of last month where nurses were given a 1% pay rise. There's a massive shortage of nurses in the UK right now. I imagine annual real terms pay cuts don't help there. Me too, buddy. Luckily I got rear-ended in Indiana when I had an accident. I have heard the horror stories and I am so glad I don't work Michigan claims. Without the money from the common man, I can no longer sustain my chiropractor clinic in MA. Taxpayer is simply not enough to sustain the niches. Greater than, but wouldn't just a quick look onto basically any first world country with free healthcare prove all this point's wrong? We had literally millions of people, potentially half the USA, arguing things like, masks do nothing, masks have trackers in them, masks make people pass out. While people are dying over the past year. So, no, because these people look for information that confirms their worldview. They tell stories about people waiting months for doctor's appointments, poor quality care, lack of options, etc. I see your point. Deleted my question on why it would lead to more treatment. Still, to me this sounds like an issue with the concept of a general damage threshold, rather than an issue with the provision of healthcare. And the downfall to this would be? Insurance started as a gamble. When we took that risk away is when the problem started. I mean, if you're going to claim some BS about the US healthcare system when you're in some weird pseudoscience niche. Chiropractic is not covered by universal healthcare in any other country. I think he was referring to medical doctors. Your business wouldn't change at all. In Canada, the answer is that things like chiropractic medicine have just stayed private and people pay for them out of their own pocket or via employer-based health coverage. Taxpayer-funded healthcare covers a lot, but it doesn't cover everything. there would still be plenty of people still willing to pay for things above and beyond what the basic government health coverage would provide. There might even be more business as some people would have more money to spend on extra services. I've never seen a UHC nation without chiropractor clinics. I don't think that is a realistic concern. They asked doctors their opinions, not snake oil salesmen. I'm only really well apprised of the differences between the US and Canada, but wait times have become a monumental issue up there. https www.globenews-release/2020/12/10/2142824/o/n/fraser-institute-news-release-canada-s- Healthcare wait times hit 22-6 weeks in 2020, longest ever recorded. HTML. When an insurance company pays out more money on claims, or pays claims more frequently, then the cost of those settlements work their way down to the customers that pay the premiums. When my friend slipped a disc, her doctor prescribed Valium and staying in bed for 6 weeks. She saw a man with 9 years training on mechanical problems with the musculoskeletal system and was able to walk same day and go on holiday 3 weeks later. The wait times are ridiculous in the US too. I tried to get a new patient appointment with a new GP and the first one I checked had openings starting in August. The next one had 3 weeks out from the day I was calling. I'm an employee of the organization that owns the clinic they work at. On the other hand, would not treatment costs generally drop to zero for the claimant? Over here, the insurance companies have doctors on retainer to contest treatment plans and diagnoses that seem not to be in line with medical best practice. While the cost goes away, the types of treatments does not. For example, if you receive an injection to relieve your injury, it does not change the fact that I need to consider that treatment. If you have no threshold cap on how long you treat, and you receive that same injection therapy once a month for 1 year, for example, then I am looking at paying a pretty high settlement to resolve that claim.